19 plus anime where the main character is overpowered and surprises everyone. We all love anime in which the main character is a powerhouse. The main character would keep the full powers, usually a secret. This holding back causes a lot of curiosity. We have also seen instances where the main character is transported into another world and turns into a total douche. Badass. Turns into a total badass. So, we are going to focus on top 20 anime where the main character is strong from the start and surprises everyone when he shows his powers. Let's get it, my ninjas. And number 20, we have Kogarashi from Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs. From the looks, he seems like a super tough teenager with rough hair and appearance. Despite looking all rowdy, he has a rather kind personality. Kogarashi only loses his coolness when someone he cares about is getting hurt. Literally, the story with all MCs. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing new. So, that's where he usually reveals his spiritual powers. Kogarashi has the most exciting spirit abilities when it comes to actual combat. We have seen him surprising us a bunch of times, mainly when he gets possessed by Yuna, who is a ghost in the series. His power, strength, speed, and mental ability have far exceeded most of the characters in that series. Kogarashi is a total badass. And number 19, we have Yuli from Sirius the Jaeger. Yuli is a tall, slim, blue-eyed, and blue-haired individual with white extensions up front. Talk about an unfair advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm already struggling with the girls. Like, we don't need more competition. Just keep him in the basement. For those of you who aren't familiar with the background, Yuli is a half-human and half-Jaeger. In other words, a beast. So what makes Yuli a candidate for a competitive list? And I'm going to warn you, Yuli isn't our usual cookie cutter MC, he's an OG one. So right from the start, Yuli is an overpowered character, and the moment he reveals his Jaeger blood, things get interesting. Being a werewolf, Yuli has some superhuman strength and senses. Once he goes berserk though, you can't really make him calm down. And that becomes evident throughout the anime on multiple instances. Having a bloodlust and powerful character on our list was a must, and this makes Yuli one of the best overpowered characters who can surprise anyone at any time. Beware of the dogs. Beware of the wolf before entering. And number 18, we have Seiya from The Hero is Overpowered but Cautious. If you've watched The Hero is Cautious, you know from the start what sort of character Seiya has. A cocky guy who knows what he's capable of. Thank you, that's just like me. Just kidding. Throughout the anime, Seiya has been dominating each and every opponent that comes to him. Yeah, whether it's in bed or in combat, this guy, yeah, you heard me right, this guy is straight gangsta. The main reason for that fact is that Seiya is always self-reflecting on his powers and strengths. Even if he's overpowered, he's training every time to make sure that he has 100% probability of winning the battles. By evolving more and more, he gets stronger, which makes him a totally overpowered character right from the start. Another aspect of Seiya that we'd like to mention is that he never loses. Part of the reason is his overwhelming strength, but there's another catch. Seiya is also the strongest when it comes to his mentality. He will train more and more to become crazy powerful, which results in his benefit. And number 17, we have Ren Homura from Monster Strike. The anime adaptation of an RPG game, Monster Strike, is jam-packed with action and a series of badass MC moments. Ren Homura has just moved back to his hometown, doesn't remember much about it anyways. He has some flashbacks from time to time after shifting to the hometown. Ren finds a mysterious game with the name Monster Strike and decides to play the game. Yes, the fantasy we all had as a kid just came true in this one. Sort of like Jumanji. Tell me you've seen Jumanji. After getting transported into the game, he is totally stuck with the RPG. Damn, surely sounds like a dream, doesn't it? In theory, the game works by summoning monsters, and each play has a unique monster. Unlike others, Ren has the dragon Oregon, who is literally one of the most overpowered monster in the series. So in other words, everyone is ready to get their ass whooped. In the anime, Ren is shown to be quite overpowered by the fact that he has constantly surprised us with his overpowered dragon and expert tactics in battles. I repeat, it's all about strategy. And number 16, we have Kufa from Assassin's Pride. Kufa is a half-human and half-vampire belonging to the most elite class of monsters. One of the main characters in the series, this guy slays. Appearance-wise, Kufa is a tall guy with dark purple hair, but when he turns into the vampire form, he's the lady's dream. Simple. The hair changes to white, and his eyes contain a blue glow. That's when you know it's let loose time. Being half human and half vampire, his strength is often misjudged. Even though he's been mostly holding back, once his vampire form takes place, no one gets out alive. On the other hand, Kufa has also shown a soft side as well. As Melita's tutor, he went through extensive training to make sure that his pupils don't get into any sort of trouble. But, oh boy, all in all, Kufa has surprised us a lot of times, which makes him a pretty badass MC from time to time. At number 15, we have Kanata Age from Sky Wizard Academy. Kanata Age is on our list, also known as Black Master Swordsman. With that name, we can just guess how powerful of a character he might be. Personality-wise, Kanata cares for his friends and would give them jobs they won't do to make them surpass their limits in a challenging way. Yeah, talk about caring. This is absurd. As an instructor of a team that lost 100 matches consecutively, he had a lot of work to do throughout the series. We get to see Kanata's most badass moves that left everyone in shock, but the most exciting power we're going to talk about is Black Aura. Black Aura is a power that he has used a couple of times in the anime, but it is super strong. This power gives him a boost in every single way it can. He was able to beat a Chimera Ant and beetles with a single strike. These enemies were causing trouble, and our boy, the protagonist, Kanata, came in and portrayed his power that gave people that jaw drop, if you know what I'm saying. And at number 14, we have Hayato Kisaragi from 100. A guy who would give his all to solve others' problems. He's a kind-hearted, warm person, but at the same time well-trained and a strong one, as seen in the anime. Damn, that's 1 in 100. Get it? The whole point of him fighting in the anime and becoming a slayer was so that he could get his sister's treatment for free. Hayato's reason for kindness is his dark past. That was shown throughout the anime, but we are going to talk about his badass powers where he left everyone in shock. We have to do that. I mean, I can't just ignore the fact that Hayato Kisaragi is a wholesome one, but a badass on top of it. Being an overpowered badass, he has a lot of techniques in his arsenal, but the one that we think is the most impact-worthy in the whole series is called Zainezan. This technique, taught to Hayato by his childhood master, Ryusei. The power allows him to cut any material that comes in the way. His sword would cause vibration and then amplifying it up to 3 times by the second strike, making it an overpowered move. And number 13, we have Amakiri Ayato from the Asterisk War. And number 13, we have Amakiri Ayato, a character who is trying to find the purpose of his life. He has a respectful and polite personality that everyone seems to love. Yo, that's me. No, I'm just kidding. Ayato's family has a dojo in which they teach some ancient techniques to fight when the time of disasters would come. Ayato also respected his older sister very much and swore to protect her by any means necessary. But one day she disappears all of a sudden. Before disappearing, she put a seal on Ayato that would prevent him from using all of his powers unless he trained himself and unlocked these powers all by himself. Well, that's hard work, man. Right there, that's hard work. Ayato managed to break the seals, and throughout the story, we get to see a handful of techniques used by him. As a sword fighter, he knows a lot of techniques in battle. From one sword style to double sword extreme, his powers have no limits. But we are going to talk about a particular one that left everyone in shock. That power is called Shiki. What's crazy is that he can even detect invisible things and actually fight with them. And at number 12, we have Tato Klein from 07 Ghost. Tato's childhood was rather happy and pure-hearted until the war broke out. His memories were erased and he was made a slave who will fight till the end. I hate anything with slavery. A 15-year-old boy who had to see so much in life, that's just sad. Even though he had a sad past, he still wouldn't budge and decided not to show his emotions to anyone, as crying is of no use. You know what, guys? This guy's a warrior. During the exam, he showed extraordinary skills that are worth mentioning in this video. Tato's ability is called Xiphon, and he can manipulate this ability to surpass his limits. We have seen variations of his powers throughout the season, but his abilities made everyone weary of him. At the academy, he became the top graduate of his class as his powers were unrivaled by any other student. Using his Xiphon, he can legit destroy his enemies or even make them a shield that is strong enough to save a big number of people at the same time. Moreover, we've also seen him flying by using Xiphon powers. In addition to this power, his hand-to-hand combat, man, is strong enough to make everyone jaw drop or dislocated at the least. He has killed many monsters using none but his own combat powers that left everyone in shock. Considering all these points, Tato is one of the coolest characters on our list today. And at number 11, Ando Jirai from When Supernatural Battles Became Commonplace. Ando Jirai, or July Ando, whatever you want to call him. He is a high school student, considered to be very flashy and sometimes stupid. Unlike most other main characters, July is energetic and edgy most of the time. Talking about his powers, it is called Dark and Dark. Let me say that again. It is called Dark and Dark. The power to manipulate flames from his right hand. Now, at first, the power was considered to be completely useless most of the time, but at some point in the plot, he blew everyone's mind. We will get to how he did that in a moment. The evolved power of Dark and Dark is called Dark and Dark of the End. Unlike the previous non-ignitable and bland powers, this literally put anything on fire. The enemies, objects, anything is engulfed by these dark flames. Damn, a lot of darks are involved in this series though. This power sort of reminds me of Amaterasu in Naruto by Itachi, if you know what I'm talking about, for you Naruto otakus. And at number 10, we have high school prodigies have it easy even in another world. An isekai anime where an airplane accident happens to 7 high school students in it. When they wake up, they find themselves in the middle of a magical world. Beautiful, isn't it? On first look, we thought that these high school kids won't survive an era with no modern tech, just a kingdom run by guilds and magic. But to our surprise, these kids are high school prodigies and they don't even break a sweat. Now, with this narrative, let's talk about our main character, which is Tsukasa Mikogami. Tsukasa is the reason why Choyuyu is on our list today. Due to his genius intellect, Tsukasa is the prime minister of Japan at a relatively young age. Like, come on, do you think a high school student will be able to run a whole country of Japan specifically? Aside from that, he's also running the high school club called 7 Prodigies. So what makes Tsukasa an overpowered isekai main character? Tsukasa has the best deduction and planning skills out of all 7 prodigies. The power to be always correct is something only an overpowered isekai character would possess, even though I know some people, my dad, who also possess that ability. So in short, Tsukasa's intelligence is what made him worthy of being on our list today. And at number 9, we have Yuto Suo from the Master of Ragnarok and Blesser of Einherjar. Yuto Suo is another overpowered isekai anime character. The anime has a twisted story where Yuto takes a picture of himself in front of a mirror and he is suddenly transported to another world. And that world, far different from modern technology. The world is full of war and there is no peace. Yuto is invited to the Wolf clan who deeply cared for him, and in return for the generosity, Yuto gives his help in modernizing the clan with his high school knowledge to become more advanced. Even if Yuto is an ordinary high school student, he proves himself to be quite useful by copying the knowledge of various historical commanders he was taught about in high school. As genius as he is, Yuto does make a great commander, but what actually surprised us was the fact that Yuto can be quite dangerous sometimes. After winning the war against the Horn clan, he decided to burn the captain of that clan. Like, that's ruthless. That's a bit crazy, right? Due to the overpowered characterness and ruthless attitude, Yuto makes a great addition to our list. And at number 8, we have Taichi Nishimura from Isekai Cheat Magician. Not your fantasy isekai anime, Cheat Magician has a great story and awesome characters. Taichi Nishimura is the MC of this anime who gets transported to another world suddenly. Upon the transfer, he is given an overwhelming power, making Taichi the most overpowered character in the series. The huge magical abilities turn him into an overpowered beast. And what about his enemies, you ask? He just obliterates them throughout the series. Qasim and Remia find out that he has magical potential and he ends up getting into a team with them. Talking about Taichi's powers, he's equipped with some of the most dangerous moves in the fantasy world. Having expertise in all 4 magical properties, he can summon spirits and control them to his liking. Isekai Cheat Magician is a prime example of how overpowered anime characters can dominate most of the isekai world that I want to be in so badly. And at number 7, we have one of my favorites, Rimuru Tempest. From that time, I got reincarnated as a slime. I remember waiting for like a whole week for this anime to surface up. Satoru Mikami, or Rimuru Tempest, is the protagonist of this anime. Satoru dies and gets turned into a slime. To his surprise, he forms a pact, or maybe he's the friend of the great dragon Veldora Tempest, who is one of the strongest beings in that isekai world. Having all the properties of Veldora, Rimuru becomes the most powerful entity when it comes to the plot. His ability to absorb the enemies and then use their powers for his own benefits is probably one of the best skills out there in anime. The transition from Rimuru thinking that he's the weakest to the world's strongest is the best feeling you'll ever get. Honestly, like, how could there be anything better in life? Just being the strongest in everything. Well, Rimuru is quite happy with his powers too. So Rimuru builds his own guild to remove all the evil from this fantasy world, and the rest is history, my friends. You can go home. Good night. No, I'm just kidding. All in all, Rimuru makes one of the best overpowered isekai anime characters out there. I can say that definitely. And at number 6, we have Shizuma Toyohesa from Drifters. One of my personal favorite isekai anime has been Drifters. It's really too bad that it won't be returning for another season, but just for your information, it's made by the makers of Hellsing. This anime has the potential to easily be one of the best isekai series out there. The series revolves around Shizuma Toyohesa, who died in the year 1600. When he's transported to the new world, he's badly injured and is invited to Nobunaga and Nasa's hideout, where his wounds get treated. Nasa and Nobunaga are elves struggling to help other elves. As Shizuma is an overpowered character, a man with limitless abilities, he easily makes up his mind to help the elves. What makes this anime interesting from the bunch is the fact that Shizuma has the power in real life and in the isekai world. The whole series revolves around having a war with humans to protect the elves, and the creators have done a great and fantastic job in doing so. Shizuma makes a totally badass overpowered isekai anime character. Number 5 is Diablo from How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. Have you ever dreamt of being the main character of your most favorite game? Well, that's Diablo. He actually dreamed of this, and he actually got transported into his favorite MMORPG game. Becoming the Demon Lord in his most playable game, Diablo has an interesting story. For a bit of the background, our main character's name is Takuma and not Diablo. He is summoned into a game by 2 girls to make him a servant of them. However, the spell is misspelled, and the results the exact opposite. Rem and Shera are the 2 girls who were summoned. The spell turns upside down, and now those 2 are Takuma's servants. Takuma is known as the Demon Lord Diablo in the game and is using his overwhelming powers as he always beats all of the enemies that come in his way. On the other hand, he is always holding back his destructive powers, as there's no need to get worked up to kill a bunch of weaklings. According to him, of course, he's overpowered. It's crazy. Talking about Diablo's strengths, he has a ton of working skills, such as the Ebony Abyss, Distorted Crown, Call of Darkness, and the list goes on. What we can guarantee is the fact that Diablo is one of the most overpowered MCs you're gonna lay your eyes on, baby. And at number 4, we have Harutora from Tokyo Ravens. Harutora from Tokyo Ravens is on number 4 because he has a kind personality that everyone seems to love. However, he can sometimes be clueless, as he fails to get the feelings of many girls that would fall for him occasionally. This reminds me sort of of Natsu from Fairy Tail. So remember that. In the anime, to make sure that Harutora lives a stable life, his father sealed away his powers at a very early stage. But this actually made him suffer, as he couldn't use his powers initially. Even at the most stressful times when his friends were being defeated inside the academy, he would lose to the opponents. But at some point, he awakened his powers and really made everyone jaw drop. After awakening his powers, he dealt with Seishuku Temple single-handedly, which his friends were having problems with. As the story progressed, his knowledge about Imperial magic style increased, making him the most powerful character of the series. Number 3 is Yuma from World Trigger. He's probably the most exciting MC on this list. Yuma Kuga. He's a neighbor, which means he's half human and half humanoid. Yuma is totally overpowered. Everyone would think of him as a pushover and a rather weak character, but he would do something exciting enough to have everybody's attention, and he'd constantly gain recognition and popularity. Like, come on, who is this guy? Marry me. I'm straight, by the way. As a neighbor, he doesn't know much about Japanese culture as he is from another world. His personality is logical, though calm at the same time. Talking about his powers, and oh boy, they never end. From combat to the most powerful technique, he had surprised and intrigued everyone in the border staff and even some of the strongest villains. His most prominent and strongest power is Black Trigger. The primary power of his Black Trigger is to create seals that would help him in combat, boosting his physical, mental strength to the level that even A-rank agents wouldn't be able to keep up with. Both defensive and aggressive, his Black Trigger can also aid him in taking some attacks with no damage. The side effect of his Black Trigger gave him the power to detect lies. That's why he can rather be dangerous even for his own allies at times. Yuma Kuga has excellent battle strength and is a beast in terms of combat. Honestly, he's totally worth putting on our list at number 3. Totally. Like, really. Like, totally. Like, seriously, believe me. Honestly, just come on. Seriously, don't play with me. And at number 2, we have Nagisa Kiryu from Classroom Crisis. Nagisa Kiryu is our protagonist, and unlike other anime where the character surprises others with his battle strength or physical power, Nagisa is actually mentally strong. His mental strength is known to be rather dangerous in the plot. I don't know about you guys, but I personally would pick this over physical strength. In the plot, he joins Kirishina Corps, a company who he would take to sky-high success by the orders of Kiryu Yuji, who is the current vice president of Kirishina Corps. Nagisa is trying to disband A-Tech, but he backfires Kiryu by his super strong brains and by playing mind games that no one was expecting, frankly. Throughout the anime, Nagisa is a very professional and strategic mofo. However, at some point, he is captured by Yuji and is thrown into a rocket to die. Of course, these mofos would try something evil, and at the end of the anime, he still doesn't lose because he just resigned from Kirishina and went back to Japan to start his new company. Now all the entrepreneurs' ears just perked up. His own company? Is this about startups? Yeah. A perfect display of professionalism and how you should never give up. Nagisa has the ultimate power of a strong mindset. And at number 1, we have Sato Pendragon from Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody. Boy oh boy, this one's going to be a rather interesting one. A 29-year-old game programmer finds himself in the middle of an RPG game that was going to be released just the next day. In game, he becomes a 15-year-old boy named Sato Pendragon. At first, he thinks that he's dreaming. However, when he feels that he is actually sane, things get quite exciting. A 15-year-old boy in an RPG game, can you imagine? What do you expect? He wipes out a whole lizard army with the powerful attacks he possesses, and Sato becomes a high-level adventurer. The whole anime is filled with action-packed adventure where Sato literally obliterates the enemy by making them think that he's an ordinary person. Sato hides his level so that he can live peacefully, but like any other isekai anime, there's a demon king as well. You know, there needs to be a bad guy. You know, it's just, that's life. Sato gears himself to fight the demon king, and the results are rather intriguing. Death March is another anime where the main character is pretty powerful, even though he tries to hide it quite a bit. There you have it, guys. 19 plus anime where the MC is overpowered and surprises the bleep out of everyone. This is your boy, Ernie Senpai, checking out. I'm ready to give you another recommendation of a genre or something that you guys like. So let me know in the comments what exactly you're most excited about. Or you know what? Tell me in the comments an anime that you guys really like, or a style of animes you really like, and let me see what I can do. Love you.